In the past year, pop mania has come back to Britain, and most of the screaming has been for a British group, the Bay City Rollers, with the Osmonds from America coming a very close second. There hasn't been a mania like this since the days of the Beatles and the Rolling Stones, and that was getting on for 10 years ago. It seems that every now and again in the pop world, along comes either a group or a single singer and gets the full force of the pop mania. So why is it that a group like the Bay City Rollers have such an incredible effect on pop fans and others don't? To begin my inquiry, I spoke to a music journalist, Brian Harrigan. Brian, what's your reaction to the Rollers in concert?
I think the first thing that struck me was the frightening fact that in any given concert there were 3,000 young girls there, and they were all screaming their hearts out, and what they were enjoying most of all was the fact that their heroes were there in the flesh, and they were within seeing distance and touching distance of them, and the noise they made was unbelievable. Musically speaking, they don't impress me very much. I've seen any number of bands, any number of groups who are far superior to the Rollers, but I think the question here is that are we really talking about music when we're talking about the Bay City Rollers?
What do you mean?
Well, does the music matter, particularly? In concert, with all the girls screaming, you can't actually hear what they're playing. They're on stage for 45 minutes, and in any of the 8 concerts I've seen, I can remember maybe a total of about 10 to 15 minutes of music filtering through.
A few weeks ago, the Bay City Rollers gave a concert in Bristol, and I went along to see Rollermania in action. Although I got there nearly 5 hours before the show was due to start, the fans were already gathering, and I talked to some of them about their idols. Well, Lisa, what do you like specially then about the Bay City Rollers?
I like their looks. I reckon they're a good group. They can sing, they can play instruments. They just got talent.
And you've come down to the concert, but you haven't got a ticket, and it's ticket only. So why have you come?
I don't know, we just want to get a glance of them, if we can.
Do you think you're going to do?
I don't think so, but we've tried, won't we?
Have you got a ticket for the concert?
No, with these two.
So why have you come down?
Just the same as my sister, to see them, see if we can get a glimpse.
And how do you think they compare with the Osmonds?
They're definitely better than the Osmonds, because they're in England all the time, whereas the Osmonds, they're always touring the world. They never come to England. And besides, they've got a tartan gimmick, and the Osmonds haven't. You can't go around with the American flag round your arm, can you? So it looks stupid.
Don't you feel a bit stupid with tartan on? Because you're not Scots, are you?
No, I don't feel stupid. It's just a gimmick, isn't it? Because the Osmonds, they always got anchors hanging out their pockets and that, but they'll think you're posh if you goes around like that. So I think it's stupid.
Have any of you ever seen the Rollers in action, live?
Yeah.
What was it like?
It was great, it was fabulous.
Could you actually hear them above the noise?
Yeah, faintly. It's great, it's brilliant.
Was there any trouble at the concert that you went to?
Not really, only when Les got a bit angry.
Got in the way.
Photographers got in the way and Les got a bit mad.
And what about the fans themselves? Anybody get hurt?
No, some of them went a bit hysterical. Quite a lot fainted and that lot, but nobody got really hurt.
And what about you?
Oh, I didn't get hurt, I thought it was fabulous.
Did you scream?
Oh, yeah.
Why do you scream, do you think?
I don't know.
Can you explain it logically, why you start screaming?
It's pent-up emotion inside you and you just let it out when you get there. It's impossible to keep it in, isn't it?
As the afternoon wore on, more and more fans were arriving, but with nearly 100 police men and women on duty, the situation seemed well under control. The cost to the city of Bristol of mounting the police security operation outside the theatre was about £1,500. Inside the theatre, there were about 60 security men, paid for indirectly by the fans out of ticket money. And that's all in addition to the £1,000 a week the Rollers themselves spend on bodyguards when they're on tour. Suddenly, the white van bringing the Rollers to Bristol arrived. Well, that's it, the arrival of the Bay City Rollers, 2 seconds flat from the van to the front door of the theatre. And that's all that many of these fans are going to see of the Bay City Rollers, because they haven't got tickets for the show. This was Rollermania in action, 2 hours before the concert was due to start. The volunteers of the St John Ambulance Brigade had a busy time calming and comforting the fans caught up in the hysteria. There were 38 men and women on duty and 4 ambulances standing by. A much larger force than at the Beatles concerts in the 1960s, because, as one ambulance man told me, the hysteria nowadays is far worse and the fans are so much younger. Now, did you manage to see the Rollers?
Yeah.
Because it was very quick, wasn't it? 2 seconds or so.
I saw Eric weeping.
Pardon?
I saw Eric weeping.
And have you got a ticket for the show? Well, why did you come all this way, just for 1 second's glance of the Rollers?
To see them, I haven't seen them before.
So what are you going to do now?
Wait till he comes out.
What was it like then when they arrived?
Oh, I was just pushing, I couldn't get to him. It was just, I saw his face coming out the car.
And then you almost collapsed, didn't you?
Yeah, I went,
Why was that?
I don't know, I just felt funny and I collapsed over the policeman.
Was it the atmosphere all around you, do you think, as well, the shouting?
Yeah.
And then the fans were let into the concert hall a few at a time to avoid a last-minute stampede. Concert organisers know the dangerous situations that can arise, and I asked Judith Hann, our science correspondent, to look into the safety regulations.
It seems that however well pop concerts are controlled, they can still become dangerous. Fan hysteria is becoming such a worry that theatres in London like this one, where the Bay City Rollers appeared in June, now work to a special set of safety rules. The Greater London Council's decided that fans under 16 need 5 times the normal number of attendants. They're also discouraging outdoor concerts, and they're arranging seating in smaller, safer groups. One man who's been trying to find out why fans do lose control of themselves is Peter Marsh, a social psychologist at Oxford University. Peter, why can young teenagers become uncontrollable and hysterical when they get together in crowds?
I think for 2 basic reasons. One is that they can go along there with all their friends, and all their friends are behaving in this kind of way, and they can feel part of a group, and they all dress up in the same kind of way and so on. And I think the other reason, again, particularly for girls, is it allows them to get rid of emotional energy in this kind of way. And for that reason, I think it's probably useful that we do have these opportunities for them. Bay City Rollers are very ordinary-looking young people. They're just a bunch of ordinary guys. These girls can see these as potential boyfriends. You know, they look like the boyfriends they have. There is an illusion of accessibility. They feel that they're able to identify with them.
To find out how Eric, Leslie, Alan, Derek and Woody affect the everyday lives of their fans, I went along to see Debbie and Karen Pittham at their home in South London.
Debbie or Karen? And you're a Rollers fan, obviously. Can I come in? So how long have you been fans of the Rollers then?
About 18 months.
Uh-huh. And how many pictures of them have you got?
Hundreds.
Hundreds. And they're all here, are they? In your bedroom? Wow. There must be thousands of fans with bedroom walls covered with pictures of the Bay City Rollers, and the selling of pop souvenirs is big business, worth about £5 million a year. Last year, the Rollers' share of this market was more than £1 million. Well, you've certainly got a fantastic collection of pictures of the Rollers, haven't you? How much a week do you spend on them?
Oh, it all depends. Sometimes might be 50p a week, or sometimes 75, maybe £1.
And what does that go on, that pan?
Oh, posters, magazines, sometimes singles and LPs and that, you know, all different.
How do you feel about wearing all this tartan? Did you feel a bit silly at first?
Yeah, but you get used to it after a while, you know, it just comes naturally.
Have you made all these things yourself?
Yeah.
We buy most of our scarves out and make our own badges.
And trousers and shirts.
Have you ever been anywhere near to them?
Yeah, we've touched them a couple of times, and my sister was lucky enough to talk to one of them.
Who did you talk to?
Leslie at Blackbush Airport. But I was screaming too much, I didn't know what they said or nothing.
Have you seen them in concert?
Yeah.
I'll see them at Hammersmith this year. Went to 2, And I was in the second row seat, and luckily I got hold of Leslie.
You say you got hold of him. What did you do to him?
Well, I got hold of his hands, and, you know, he tried to pull it away, and we was just having a kind of big fight kind of thing.
And didn't somebody touch your hat? Isn't that why you've got that hat there?
Yeah, it was thrown onto stage and it touched by Leslie and Eric. And afterwards, one of the security men let me have it.
And how long do you think you're going to be loyal to them?
Long time. Very long time.
Aren't you going to get bored with wearing the tartan?
No, just buy more and more as we go along.
But for many girls, being a Rollers fan can bring emotional problems, and for help, they write to teenage magazines like Mates, where I talk to Pauline Coote. Pauline, you see all the letters that come into the magazine. What percentage of them are from Rollers fans?
Well, definitely on the emotional side, they're about 60%, and most of them are things to do with wanting to go to the concerts and their parents won't let them, and they cry themselves to sleep at night, and they can't do their revision for their exams because they're daydreaming about Eric or, you know, one of the Woody or something.
How can you give them advice, then, on problems like that?
Well, it's very difficult. I mean, you really just have to point out that they are an illusion and that they're not real. They're not going to be their boyfriends and things like that. And I think, actually, they realise this somehow. There's a sort of... They've got sort of mixed feelings because they, on the one hand, they know that they're never going to meet Woody, and they know that the Woody will never be their boyfriend. But on the other hand, they've got to have the illusion as well because they thrive on it somehow. I don't think they could live without idolising a pop star or a figure as such during the teenage years.
Debbie and Karen certainly have their idols, but I'm not sure that every young girl needs someone to scream at. And it can be expensive. These two must have spent about £75 so far on Rollers souvenirs. Why are you Roller fans, do you think?
Like their music, they're good looking, they're young, clean cut.
So are the Osmonds.
Oh, but they were too good to be true. They were just too perfect.
And, you know, they never had anything you could go out in. You could just wear badges for them, but for the Rollers you wear tartan scarves and things.
Then, do you really feel as though you're wearing it for them?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
Do you think they really notice, or were ever likely to notice you?
They must do sometimes.
Do you think you'll ever stand a chance of meeting them?
Doubt it.
There's too many other fans who want to see him as well. So.
Chance in a million, if we ever did.
Television gives the fans the Rollers and their carefully planned routines in close-up. Karen and Debbie and Julie, their friend from next door, never miss a show, and they dress for the occasion. Karen has been known to wait all day outside a television studio, hoping the Rollers would arrive to record a show. In fact, they were hundreds of miles away. To some people, this is a disturbing sight. Rollermania reaching right into the living room. But are girls like Karen being manipulated by the mania, as many parents seem to believe? Certainly, commercialism and the whipping up of hysteria plays a big part in pop music. And some people feel it's wrong to encourage fans to lose complete control of their emotions. Mrs. Pittam, your two daughters certainly have got Rollermania, haven't they?
Yes.
How do you feel about it?
Well, I accept it. They're only young and I think it's good for them. You know, I think it gets their feelings and emotions out, and also it's better than standing on street corners.
But what about the hysteria and the screaming? Does that worry you?
No, not really, because it's been out so many years. I mean, when I was a teenager, it was the same over Bill Haley and Little Richard and Elvis Presley. So I don't really see any reason why these are any different.
It brings back a few memories for you, does it?
Oh, yes, quite true. I can remember chasing Bill Haley's car at Waterloo Station, you know, running after him screaming, so my daughters are the same probably as I was.
In the 1950s, Bill Haley had fans throughout the world. If the Bay City Rollers are to follow in his footsteps, their next big challenge must be to conquer America. Will they succeed? I asked Les Daly, editor of Mates magazine.
Oh, I think they make it very definitely in a very, very big way. Already, I think they're making more impact than any other British group has done in the States since the Beatles. For example, in September, they're about to be televised via satellite. Something like 80 million American viewers, that's half the homes in America, They're about to perform in Shea Stadium towards the end of next year, which only the Beatles have done, so yeah, certainly they're going to happen there.
A lot of groups have gone to America and haven't made any impression at all. Slade, for example, they work very hard in the States, and to my mind, they're a very good group. And yet, for some unknown reason, they didn't make it. The Rollers, if there's a fashion cult built up in the first place, so that the children can pick up on the scarves tied round the wrist, the short trousers, then they stand a chance. Musically, no.
So, two conflicting opinions about whether the Rollers are going to make it big in America. But differences of opinion are nothing new in the pop industry, and after all, the Rollers did take the whole pop world by surprise in the first place. If you're not a fan of the groups, you may even think that the whole Rollermania thing has been created by big business. But there have been many pop groups in the past who've relied heavily on gimmicks and publicity, and they never caught on like the Rollers. It's going to be interesting to find out just how long Rollermania will go on for. At the moment, it's still going strong. As the ecstatic fans came out of the concert at Bristol, I was told that between 60 and 70 girls had been treated by the ambulance brigade. Most were cured with a whiff of smelling salts, but 2 had to be taken to hospital for further treatment. The white van left without the Rollers. Already, the group were miles away by car. But earlier, just before they went on stage, I talked to them about their phenomenal success. Well, Derek, everywhere you seem to go, all the girls go wild. Have you got any explanation for this?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I remember it's the clothes we wear or something, you know. I mean, I'm glad it's happening, like, but I couldn't really pinpoint it to anything.
But it's not happened to any group in Britain since the Beatles and the Stones, has it?
I don't think there's been groups had the right image, you know, before.
What would you say that your image is, then, to the fans?
Well, we dress cheaply, you know. I mean, they can buy these clothes in the shops for next to nothing. I think we're average the same age as them, so they can communicate a bit better with us, you know. And I think these are the two main things.
Yes, you're not very distant from them, are you?
Yeah,
really?
plus I was going to say we're available more than American groups, you know.
Except when they want to try and get near you. Because watching this afternoon was quite incredible. That I think you took 2 seconds to get in from the van into the theatre. And yet afterwards it was like a battleground outside. You never see this, of course, do you?
No, we didn't. Just people tell us about it.
Are you ever frightened by it?
No, really. It's just when they get really close, you become frightened for them instead of yourself, like, because you could get crushed or run over or something like that.
Some of these girls are very young, aren't they? They're sort of 9, 10, 11, and if they're there having hysterics, it could well do them a lot of damage. Do you worry about this?
Well, yeah, we do worry, but I don't think that's true. I think it's because grown men go and shout their heads off at football matches and everything, you know. I mean, why should girls? I mean, they're older than 9. I mean, they go from 9 right up to about 20, you know. I mean, why should girls not have that same thing as old men go to football matches and start shouting and going hysterics and everyone probably scores a goal, you know.
And the thing is about hysterics, young girls and hysterics, it's really, I think it's quite healthy.
We've just come to the end now of a very successful tour of Britain. What happens next?
What we do? What we do next is, well, our next LP really, and then we go to America.
This is going to be a big challenge for you, isn't it, America?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
yes. Because that's what, you know, the Beatles and the Stones, when they went to America, it was...
Well, we'll probably just promote ourselves doing TV shows and radio.
We've got a lot of big TV nights over there, you know, and that'll be the promotional side, and then we'll probably go over in November and do a concert.
Yeah.
Hope so. So it won't be safe for you in America, then?
No.
Thanks very much, lads.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.